Yes, yes, yes. Hello everyone, welcome back to another video on the YouTube channel. This is my Premier League team of the season. If I was making this video yesterday, there'd be a very sour taste in my mouth and I wouldn't want to make it. But today I'm a bit more calmed down after watching Chelsea lose 2-1 to Villa like absolute bottle jobs. But anyway, this is a neutral video. We won't be talking about Chelsea, we'll be talking about the Premier League as a whole. And it was very difficult to come to my decisions. And before I get into the team of the season, I would ask you all to subscribe first of all, but also I would like to tell you that this is not going to be Man City team of the season. I'm not gonna, obviously they're the team of the season, like they won the fucking Premier League, but I want to diversify the team of the season a bit. I chose the best that I thought were the best. Let's bring the graphic up on screen right now. I'm gonna pick Ederson in goal. I know that's very boring, it's very one-dimensional. There's a lot of arguments to be made for Emi Martinez. There's a lot of arguments to be made for Edouard Mendy. But at the end of the day, Ederson has the most clean sheets. He won the Golden Glove Award. So I think that deserves the credit of team of the season. Right back, tough one. There probably is a very fair argument to be made for Cancelo. But to be honest, I fucking watched this lad all season and I just thought he was fantastic. He put his all into it. He was one of the best players on the pitch for this team, and that is Kufal. He's just been terrific. Every time I watch him, he's bombing up and down that flank, but also he's very good defensively, and I think that deserves credit more than anything. West Ham, in that position, bear in mind, were quite shit. You know, who did they have playing there? Jenkinson for a while. They had Fredericks, and I think that was a big weakness, that right back position for West Ham. So to bring this fella in, and for him to make the difference, he deserves all credit. So I've given him the right back position. Centre backs, a lot of options here. Diaz, Silva, Fofana, me. I think me and Tarkowski deserve a lot of credit because they are a very good centre back pairing for Burnley, who are sitting 15th on the table, probably because of them, in all honesty, because they have performed terrifically all season. But I think you have to give it to Ruben Diaz. He has been one of the best players in the Premier League this season. Since he's come in for City, he's made the Van Dijk difference, I suppose you could say, because before that they were shocking defensively. They brought in Ake for 40 million and they just said, fuck it, let's bring in this fella for 80 million and we'll be grand. And that's what happened. They were grand because they brought him in. I could have went for Stones beside him, but I think, as I said, I want to diversify it a bit. So I've gone for Fofana. I think he has been absolutely terrific for Leicester. Every time I've watched him, getting to every ball, getting to every 50-50. I haven't seen him put in a bad performance. I thought about going for Tiago Silva, to be honest, because I thought he made a big difference for our defence since he's come in. Even under Frank, I thought he did make a bit of a difference. But I don't think he played enough games, and that's the unfortunate part. And the same with Azpilicueta, I thought about putting him in, but yeah, Chelsea players just haven't really had any consistency this season. Most of them anyway. They're not really warranting places in the team this season. So I've gone for Fofana because he's played the majority of Leicester's games. Left back. Now I thought of going Cancelo here because Cancelo can play left back as well. And Luke Shaw is the obvious choice, and I think I've gone for Luke Shaw. Barreling down that left hand side, excuse the pun, but honestly he's improved immensely this season. Just gone from strength to strength. Defensively, offensively, going down that left hand side. A lot of pace still, considering he broke his leg, and I think that's impressive. The comeback is impressive more than anything. So I think that warrants a place in the team of the season. I'm going to go, for centre mid, I'm going to go Kevin De Bruyne. I was going to go for Tielemans, but the fact Leicester bottled top four, I'm going for Kevin De Bruyne. I think he's been the most consistent. He's been injured in and out of the team, and his stats aren't amazing, but I just think when he is on the pitch, he makes a lot of difference to City. Verbally, I can't describe how good he is, but if you watch him, you know. Kevin De Bruyne, terrific player, on the ball, in the press, brings energy to the game, can pick out a pass. He has 11 assists this season, and I think that deserves credit. You have to give that credit. He has to be put in here because he has made the difference, and that's the reality. So Kevin De Bruyne goes in. And then beside him, I've gone for Ilkay Gundagan. I thought he was absolutely terrific when De Bruyne was out injured. 13 goals this season for a midfielder, unbelievable, and he's been absolutely immense. Every time I've watched him, not a bad game, picks out a pass, but also gets into positions to score goals now, which is an asset to City and has been an asset all season. He's been a threat to every fucking defence in the Premier League. So Ilkay Gundagan walks into this team for me. Beside him, this would probably be the most obvious one, I've gone for Bruno Fernandez. I don't think you can look past 18 goals and 12 assists this season and not put him in the team of the season. He's been absolutely terrific for United. No doubt he deserves a spot because he's shown up in the majority of their games, if not all of them. So I can't just ignore or snub Bruno Fernandez. That would just be the most biased thing ever from me, because he's been absolutely unbelievable. People are saying he's going to catch Lampard, most goals in the Premier League. That remains to be seen. I think he needs to consistently do it on a week by week basis for the next 4 or 5 years at least to catch Lampard. But this season has been terrific, no doubt. And last season, for 6 months, it was terrific as well. So you could argue that he does have a chance to catch Lampard. It remains to be seen, but I think there is a chance. And, as much as that pains me, I think he is good enough to do it. And that's the sad reality. Regardless of who you support, you have to admit Bruno Fernandez is a fucking class player. And then the front three, very difficult for me. Very difficult. But I've gone for right wing Mohamed Salah. I think Mohamed Salah, second most goals in the Premier League this season. Can't look past it again. I'm not going to snub Mohamed Salah. No way. Because he's been Liverpool's bright spark this season. When he gets in front of goal, he makes no fucking mistake. And that's what you need. You need a bit of ruthlessness. You need a bit of killer instinct in the final third. Something that Chelsea have lacked this season. Something that many teams have lacked this season. So I think you have to give it to him. You have to give him. Right wing goes to Mohamed Salah. And then you go to the left wing. And the bias in me says Mason Mount. He's been terrific for Chelsea this season. He's been one of our most consistent players. Probably our only consistent player all season. And yesterday doesn't take away from that fact for me. I think yesterday was his first very bad game in a while. I think Son can feel hard done by because he has performed very well. 17 goals, 10 assists. The stats are hard to ignore. At the same time, Mason Mount, if our strikers were a bit more clinical, he would have a lot more assists. And if he was a bit more clinical himself, he would have a lot more goals. But that will come. His stats are actually worse than last year, which is unbelievable because I think he's come on leaps and bounds from last year. I think he's improved as a player. On the ball, off the ball, in the press. He's very important for Chelsea. He's very consistent for us on a week-on-week basis. Also the fact there's no Chelsea players in this team so far, which is very hard for me not to do. The only real options in left wing are Foden, Son and Mount. And I think Foden has not played enough games. Mount has played almost every game. And there's a reason for that. He's very important for Chelsea. So I think he goes in. And then a striker up front. Partly the reason I didn't put Son in the team is because I didn't want to have 2 players from Spurs in the Premier League team of the season when they're 7th. It's not good enough for Spurs, is it? But I am putting this man in because he's absolutely terrific. What a striker he's been for Spurs over the last few years. He's going to leave this season. But Harry Kane gets the last spot. I think this is a no-brainer. This is the most obvious fucking choice in the team because he has brought so much to Spurs. I think he scored his golden boot this season, but also he's just brought so much more to his game. Assists. I look at this here, he has 14 big chances created and he's only behind Kevin De Bruyne and Bruno Fernandez. So he's brought a lot more than just goals this season and he's brought his game to the next level and he's just improved and improved and improved to the point where he's too big for Spurs now and he has to leave, and that's unfortunate. But would you rather play Europa Conference League or Champions League when you're one of the best strikers in the world? I'm going to do my player of the season, my young player of the season and my manager of the season. So here we go. Player of the season. So player of the season, it's tough, because you have to put one of the 11 in. You can't not pick a player of the season that's not in the fucking team of the season. So it's got to be one of the 11. It's between Harry Kane and Ruben Dias for me. Because Harry Kane, to be fair to him, he had no one around him. So the fact, I can't just say he hasn't shown up in the big games. Because he had no one to fucking show up with him. He can't fucking do it alone. And I think 23 goals, 14 assists needs to be rewarded. He's more deserving than ever. I'm going to give it to Harry Kane. I honestly admire what he's done this season. The fact he's been in such a bad team and he scored so many goals and got so many assists. That suggests to me a great player and a player that deserves team of the season. Ruben Dias is in a fucking great team with great players beside him. I'm not saying it makes a difference defensively, but it helps definitely because you have better players in the press, better players around you to pass the ball to. Harry Kane has had no one this season. He's done it all alone. And for me, that warrants player of the season. The fact he's got so many goals, 37 goal involvements in 35 games. Come on. Give it to him. Give it to him. Give it to him. Young player of the season, I think I'm going to give it Mason Greenwood. A shout. Foden has probably warranted young player of the season. Mount probably a bit too old at this point. 22, cut off point for me. I'm going to give it to Phil Foden. The manager of the season, difficult. I think Moisey. I predicted West Ham would go down this season. Pep was expected to win the league. I predicted, and most people predicted, West Ham to finish near the bottom of the league. The fact they finished up in the European places warrants fucking manager of the season for Moisey. Fair fucking play to him. But that's it. I apologise if this video is very long. I love talking about football. Thank you all for watching. It's been a fantastic Premier League season to cover on this YouTube channel. I've enjoyed it thoroughly. It's been rough in parts, but I've had fun, and I hope you had too. Please subscribe if you're new. Please like the video, everyone. More stuff coming on the Champions League this week. So I'll see you all then. Peace.